As if there weren't enough rules to remember about Dungeons and Dragons, the guys at Wizards of the Coast decided to split the magic items up into categories. So let's talk about those. Hey fellow Game Masters, I'm Richard Quiner, and welcome back to the Daily D20, your daily dose of all things tabletop role-playing games, helping you build your world and master your game. So let's get into the different categories of magic items and how they're used, and some of the rules surrounding them. Armor. This seems very self-explanatory because it is. Armor is the clothing that the adventurers wear. If it's a magic item of armor, it usually has to be worn in order for that magic item to take effect, unless the magic item states otherwise. So keep that in mind when you're using magic items such as armor, you gotta wear it to use it. In addition, unless the armor states a certain specific style of armor as its style, it can be any style of armor. So if it is a +1 armor, you can have that be a chainmail or a leather or even a cloth armor if you so choose. Potions are kind of a catch-all of any magical liquid item that you can get. They don't have to be consumable in terms of drinking, but they are consumable in terms of you use them and then they're gone. Generally, a potion of some sort comes in about a 1 ounce size, which isn't a lot if you really think about it. It's a small amount of liquid, but it's just enough to do the job that the magic item needs. Consuming a potion or giving a potion to someone else takes 1 action in combat situations, or sometimes it could take longer if the liquid is something that needs to be rubbed onto a wound or something like that. So think of that also in your combat situations. Pick the right times to use your magic potions. The ring category is pretty self-explanatory. It's a ring, and it has to be worn on a finger or some digit in order to take effect, unless the magic item description says otherwise. There might be some out there that just need to be on the person where they could wear it on a necklace or keep it in their pocket, but for the most part you have to wear it on your hand or maybe on your toe, or some other appendage might be an option for you to use that magic effect of the ring. The rod is any cylinder that's 1 inch thick and about 2 to 3 feet long. It could be a scepter. These come with magic powers that you just need to use the rod to invoke. A scroll, as we know from our books, is more of a parchment, often tied to 2 wooden sticks that are rolled up and kept in a tube for protection. When these are magical, it's essentially a spell that was written onto the scroll so the person could read the scroll and cast the spell. That's how scrolls are used. In combat situations or just any game situation, the character would need to read the scroll and cast the spell. But when that happens, 99% of times, unless the description says otherwise, the scroll is then useless after that. So it's a one-time use spell, essentially. A staff is similar to a rod, but a little bit longer. They go up to 5 or 6 feet long, still cylindrical kind of pull. Staffs come in many different shapes and sizes. They can be very ornate, very well designed staffs, or they can be gnarly branches of wood that contain the magic power or the magic properties listed in the magic item. In addition to this, most staffs, unless it's listed in their description, can also be used as a quarterstaff or a melee weapon in most situations. Wands are much smaller than staffs and rods. They usually go from about 1 foot to 1.5 feet in length, and they usually carry a certain amount of a certain spell. So sometimes you can have a wand that casts Fireball, and it may be able to cast Fireball 3 times a day. And often and of course all these rules are based on whatever is written in the description. If something is written in the description of a magic item, that is what is important. If it's not written, then these are the rules that kind of take effect. Most wands will have it listed that if a wand depletes its uses in a single day, then that wand becomes useless. But if you keep one, then it can recharge uses overnight during a long rest. So keep that in mind. Make sure you read up on your wands before you go using them willy-nilly. Weapons are arms or armaments that contain the magical effect. More often than not, they add bonuses to the attack roll and damage rolls of a player, and some magic weapons will list a specific style of weapon that they are, but if it's not listed in the magic item description, it can be any type of weapon. So you could have a +1 dagger or a +1 bow. It depends on what type of weapon you need for your players. And the last category of magic items is kind of the leftovers. They're called wondrous items, and these are the bags or pouches or gloves or hats or scarves that your players might pick up that have some sort of magic property that you can use. These are all very different, so you have to make sure you read the rules on these magic items in order to use them to their full potential. As a game master, understanding these categories and how these magic items work can help you give your players the right items that they need for the job at hand. Or it can help you give them something just unique and interesting that most people don't get to play with in their games. So learn these categories, learn about the magic items, and you'll be able to give your players a better time at the table. So I want to know what you think. What kind of magic item really appeals to you most, or might appeal to your players? For me, I'm a big fan of wondrous items. I like the utility, I like how they work in the game, and how they give you a lot of fun options. But I know several players who would rather have a +1 or +2 sword or dagger rather than a wondrous item with some powerful magic. So it really depends on taste. So let me know what you think in the comments below. What appeals to you the most? If you like this video, I invite you to go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos every day. And of course, fellow game masters, I've been Richard Quiner. Thank you for watching.